Hey, welcome to Bill Faeth Unfiltered. I'm coming to you from the parking lot of Hatley Pointe Ski Resort in North Carolina. Just flew home from Big Sky, Montana, after a vacation of 4 days of skiing and snowboarding with my wife. And I'm here today. And one of the reasons that I'm here is Tyler Kuhn, the owner of Savvy Realty, is having his Savvy Summit that kind of starts today. I don't know if there's going to be skiing or not. I'm literally looking up at the mountain and it's sunny and it was 70 degrees yesterday. If you're a skier, you know that's bad news for skiing. But today, this is a brand new ski resort, the newest one in the Southeast. And, that means that I think her name's Deb Hatley and her husband, they sold like a hot tub company and then they were avid skiers and decided to build the ski resort. And it's been open for about 5, 6 weeks. And, they're going to do some real estate development here. And, so I'm interested in checking this place out as an investor, but they are brand new. And I'm actually considering buying 165 acres, which is bigger than this, in a location that has 7 ski runs and a lodge, and making an investment there as well. But as a newbie, I have no experience in that. I want to talk to them to see how the last 20 months has gone from them. In literally buying this ski resort that hadn't been open since I think it was 1976, 1978, reinvesting into it, building a new lodge, putting in the lifts. What are the hurdles that they had to get over? What are some of the mistakes that they've made in the last 20 months? How much money has it cost them? What are, some of the big gotchas that they didn't expect in their underwriting? These same concepts apply to you and me as we are migrating through our real estate investing career. And that's something that I think is really important. I talked about this a little bit on my Superhost Sunday yesterday. And, it seems to me like every year as we go into real estate investing, even though we all have experience, we're taking on a different climate. And this is really the biggest change since COVID. We have a new president and President Trump. His first 2 weeks, the things that he has done have been unprecedented in the first 2 weeks of a president. Depending on what side of the aisle you sit on, some could be good, some could be bad. I don't want to get into the whole political situation because I'm about as bipartisan as they come. But I do need to take into account the things that he's doing into my investing future in 2025. I do want to anticipate the tax plan that he has, and potentially it will get passed, but I'm not making any decisions just because the Republicans have the White House, they have Congress, they have the House. That's not 100% guarantee that everybody's talked about. Oh, it's guaranteed that cost segregation benefit's going to come back. Well, number one, we don't want to invest primarily for tax benefits. That is a consideration when we're making investments, but it should not be the end-all be-all. Look, I have had way too many professionals that don't really know the intricacies of investing during COVID. They just bought for tax benefits, and that's great. They might have got a $50,000, $70,000 tax benefit from their cost segregation study, but now they're sitting on a dog, right? And they literally have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a property that's making $1,000 a month, $12,000, $15,000 a year. I mean, that's a long-term rental investment. That's not a short-term rental investment. So I kind of want to reiterate the basic concepts of investing into short-term rentals. And there are 4 components that every one of us need to be looking at when we are investing. There's 4. Number 1, cash flow. I mean, that's really the reason that we decided to get into short-term rentals in the first place and, get out of long-term rentals or whatever, is that we can do a multiple based on your skill set. And that differs for every single person, right? That's one of the reasons why when I'm making an investment, I don't care what the rent roll is from the previous owner. I don't care if they used a property manager, co-host, or were self-managing. That has no bearing on my outcome. So I am using STR Insights, AirDNA, and benchmarking. This is a key focal point for you guys that most of you miss. Benchmarking my historical percentage. So when you hear me talk about I do 52, I'm doing 52. Actually, I'm doing 51% above the 90th percentile of STR Insights right now. Portfolio wide for all that's my own portfolio and that's my co-hosted portfolio, right? So I combine those and I know, and I look at a property, say here in Mars Hill, North Carolina, and it's doing $100,000 on Rentalizer and AirDNA, or $110,000 in the 75th percentile or 90th percentile of, almost forgot the name of it, STR Insights, then I can go in and add my 52%. Now, I will back out 10% of that as I'm running a pro forma, always reduce revenue by 10% and increase expenses by 10%. So I have what's called the just in case you F up. That's back from my golf days and yardage books. Just in case you screw up, just in case you F up, I have that 20% delta. That's my gap to ensure that I don't make a mistake. And that's all when I'm estimating cash flow, because that's the most important priority for me when I'm making investment. Now, right behind that, in a very close second, number 2 is appreciation. So I go back and I will look at, we've completed 2024. So I have 24 appreciation rates I can get from the National Real Estate Association. I have 23 and I have 22. That's 3 years. I skip 21 and I skip 20. Now I will get them and put them in as a data point, but I'm taking an average of 24, 23, 22, and I'm going back and doing 2019 and 2018 pre-COVID. And I'm going to average those 5 years together. And then if I look at, if I'm looking at a property in Mars Hill, North Carolina, and I'm looking at a property in Banner Elk, North Carolina, and they're both going to do $100,000 a year in revenue, let's say a $500,000 property, and the expenses are relatively the same. So let's say it's going to cost me $60,000 in operating expenses. So I'm going to net $40,000, which would be a significant profit. Let's say $70,000 and net $30,000 on that deal. But the appreciation in Banner Elk is 7%, and the appreciation in Mars Hill is 5%. Then that becomes a big data point in my analysis of acquisition, because I'm not real smart. 10% of 500,000 is 50, right? 5% is 25,000. So then let's see, if I cut that in half to 2.5%, it's $12,500. So if there's a 2% delta between Mars Hill and Banner Elk on appreciation, right, we could be talking $15,000 to $17,000 a year that goes into my pro forma. So cash flow is number 1. Then I'm analyzing appreciation. Number 2 is going to be my debt pay down, right? So right now I'm in the process of an acquisition. I have a hotel, motel under contract right now. And, we're looking at banking, and we're probably going to have to do, because it's over 10 units, we're going to have to do a local commercial lender, and we're probably going to be on a 20-year amortization, which a lot of people shy away from, but I like a 20-year amortization. Or even if I go in and I do a 30-year am on a traditional mortgage, I want to try to accelerate that to a 15-year am based on my cash flow. Because number 3 is debt pay down, right? So I want to pay down my debt as fast as I can, but I also want to have some flexibility. I don't want to go in and do a 10-year note or a 15-year note, but I'd like to do 30-year notes that I can go in and amortize over 15 years and make additional payments to pay my debt down faster, especially if I have a property that's going to net, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. Even if I'm only netting $30,000 and I don't have to live off of that income, I'm really looking at trying to force that debt pay down as fast as I can. So that's number 3. So number 1, cash flow. Number 2, appreciation. Number 3, debt pay down. What do you think number 4 is? That's going to be the tax benefits. That's the accelerated depreciation. That is the cost segregation benefit. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people are getting confused on is when they put that property into service and when they can do the cost segregation study to take advantage of those tax benefits. Well, if you purchase in 2025, you don't have to wait for, the cost segregation to be amended or whatever. You need to budget that based on the 40% this year. And if something does change, that's going to be, that's just going to be icing on the cake for all of us. There is no way that they're going to go back and amend, 24, 23, 22 and move that back to 100%. That would just be an accounting nightmare for the IRS. At best, we'll get it moved to 100% in 2025. From my inside sources, if you will, some relationships that I have, I believe that will we're probably at a 70 to 75% chance that we will see 100% accelerated depreciation come back in 2025. It's not a given, so do not bank on that. Do not run 100% on any deals. We need to make our estimates. We need to run our performance based on where we are at today. And if something changes, then that's going to be a benefit for us. Now, most of you, even in 2024, some of you I have asked me, should I file an extension just because it may change? I wouldn't do that, especially if you need the credit, right? So that's a whole nother component to investing. I don't put that in the top four. Number one is going to be cash flow. Number two, appreciation. Number three, debt pay down. Number four is going to be the tax benefits. But as a sidebar, as a bonus, I really need you to understand your credit, right? And your credit worthiness, how you're going to qualify, your income, your DTI. Those are all things. Even if you're doing commercial loans, the banks are going to look at your ability to pay back those loans. So like for myself, I just made the most money I've ever made in 2024. 2023 was my best year ever. Now 2024 is even better. So if I want to increase my buying power in 2025, I need to file my tax return as soon as I can. So I still might file an extension. If my cost sags get done for 2024, which they're not yet, then we should be prepared to get done. And I'll probably have them done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we should be able to apply or file my tax return on April 15th. If I do that, then I eliminate 22 if banks are looking for 2 years, and I take my 2 best years I've ever had. So 2022 is a great year for me. That was my best year ever. That was replaced by my best year ever in 23. And my income keeps going up, right? So that means I become more bankable. And now literally that I've got a hotel under contract right now and our closing is going to be right around that time. If I happen to struggle with the bank and qualifying, and then I can let them know what my tax return is and then get a signed copy, even before it's filed from my CPA, that will help in the qualification as well. So that's one reason. And I learned this from Ryan Bakey, when he joined my mastermind. I now meet, and I didn't do this previously, I now meet with my tax consultants, Ryan Bakey, my local CPA in Nashville, John, and we are meeting quarterly to really estimate what income is going to be. One, so I can pay court and pay into taxes on a quarterly basis. I don't wait till the end of the year. And I kind of have to aggregate all of that flows down to my personal return. But I'm also budgeting what I need to do from tax benefits, whether it's Section 179, the Augusta rule, cost segregation studies, all of these different types of things, whether I need to buy big equipment for a specific business that I can accelerate the depreciation, write that off, or just take expense. But I don't ever want to zero out. And that's another mistake that I see a lot of you guys making is you try to zero out and make no money. You run so many personal expenses, through your businesses. Could be an LLC for an Airbnb or whatever it is. But then you're not bankable. So it's great to not pay tax. But if you're going to not pay tax, then you got to 100% go DSCR or 100%, go down the creative financing route. And you need to plan for that. That's why I'm meeting with my CPAs every quarter. So if we recap, the top 4 things as to go from beginner to intermediate to advanced is focusing on when you're making an acquisition, cash flow, appreciation, debt pay down, then taxes, in that order of priority. And you can make sure that you understand how to underwrite the pro forma. So I believe every one of you should start with my super grader. And a lot of you are getting paralysis by analysis when you are analyzing markets by starting with the pro forma. Start with my super grader. Really, it's kind of taking a page out of Avery Carl's book. She coined the term the enemy method. You're looking at your enemies. You're looking at your comps, right? And I've got this system of how you can grade all of them against the property you're looking to purchase. If you own properties, you should be doing this with your own property against new comps that have come into the market. Let's say that you own a property down in the Emerald Coast or in Orlando or in, Bradenton or Naples or whatever. You're coming, if you're in the really south of Tampa, you're in season right now. But if you're getting ready for a summer season in any market, you should be analyzing right now using my grader system, like your market comps, and seeing who's gone in, who's added pickleball courts, who's added hot tubs, who's added barrel saunas, all these things that are going to make or break, and compare the pricing. One of the biggest mistakes I see you guys making is you guys are priced too high. This isn't COVID anymore, so we have to really pay attention to our pricing, and specifically as we get inside that average lead time. These are the things that if you learn that are going to take you from being a beginner to an intermediate to an advanced investor. If you guys have any questions, make sure you join my Build Short-Term Rental Wealth Facebook group. 33,000 investors are in there, and it's one of the most giving, awesome groups to be able to help you. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Bill Faeth Unfiltered.